Tonight, welcome to the Wilmington, New York Fish and Hang. This is the Q&A for the New York Fish and Hang that's going to be happening in October, so October 4th through the 6th. We have a lot that we're going to cover. So kind of when Rachel, myself, and Joanne were putting this together, our hopes were that we would help answer a lot of the questions that you all might have. I know that some of the emails that we've sent out with the registrations have been a little lengthy, but the hope with that is that you can just keep it, go back to it, so that way if you have questions that you can help, it'll help answer a lot of the different questions. Just a little introduction of who the heck we are. So my name's Heather Hodson. I go by the pronouns she, her, live on the native lands of the Confederate Spokane tribe. And I'm a founder of a lot of things. I founded United Way on the Fly, Fly Fish Instruct, and now I Fish, I Belong, which the Fish and Hangs are a part of. I know some of you, I'm really looking forward to meeting many of you, and truly, I'm just really excited to co-host with two other really incredible women. Joanne.
Oh, what about me?
It's not New York, just so you all know.
That's a trout in upstate New York in the fall. Yep, I live in Rochester, so not quite up where we're going to go fishing, but I too am really looking forward to fishing up there in Rachel's home waters. And given my druthers, I'm on flats in 102-degree weather, chasing GTs and the likes. But I have had a blast. I've been to a number of these fish and hangs. They are an absolute blast. You folks are in for a real treat. Just the people. If it rains the whole time we're there and we're stuck inside playing cards, it will still be an event to remember.
Absolutely. Rach.
Hey, I'm Rachel, and I live in Wilmington. I'm very excited for all of you to come and see the beautiful place where I live. Many of you have maybe fished here before, but I hope looking forward to seeing everybody here, and we're going to have some fun. And the whole hang terminology, I think I kind of stole that from a good buddy of mine who guides on the Delaware, Jason Dapra. And he always says it's all about the hang. And so I don't know, Heather, is that where you kind of got it from?
Absolutely, from you.
About the hang.
From you.
I didn't make it up. So Jason Dapra, and yeah, it's all about the hang, but it's so true that it's all about the hang. So I'm ready to hang with all of you and fish and have fun.
Absolutely. And we have some sponsors. So Hungry Trout has been very generous to lend us their restaurant space for our workshops, as well as to give some discounts on lodging. So
there's 2 rooms left. There's two rooms left at the discounted price. Yeah.
Kate Smith is going to register tonight or tomorrow morning from Rochester. So there's one.
Okay, perfect. And I think and I might have one under my name that I am going to release. So we'll have, there's two rooms left, and we'll talk more about that with logistics and all of that. So again, just I Fish, I Belong, the Fish and Hang. Where did this originally come from? So I'm sure many of you all have come to us probably, or a lot of us through United Way on the Fly. And about 10 years ago, United Way on the Fly, which originally was Spokane Women on the Fly, we started these DIY focused events on the Missouri River. And the idea behind these is that where we can have a location where we can bring a large amount or a larger amount of fishing folks together, that's not going to hurt the river, or we're not going to overuse a specific river or area, but really it's focused on budget friendly. So we know that as far as socioeconomic goes, we all have different budgets, and we really want to make sure that it's more inviting for all budgets. And so that's kind of where it came from. So it's been around for 10 years, kind of this entire format. As I mentioned, United Way on the Fly, so that's probably how you all came to us. I Fish, I Belong is, we did something back in November. It's almost been a year, and we founded a nonprofit. And Within the nonprofit, we have 4 different programs, and actually the Fish and Hang is one of the 4 programs. But truly what it's all about is just, we want to advocate. We want to advocate for women with United Way on the Fly. We advocate for Black and brown anglers with Ubuntu Fly Anglers. We advocate for kids with the All Kids Fish program, and we advocate for all budgets, and that's where Fish and Hang comes. So kind of a giant mother, basically, of all of these different programs where we're bringing folks together and who are advocating for everybody to be out on the water and feel welcome and feel safe. As far as the mission goes, tailored for affordability, again, our true focus is DIY focus. So that way, when we're choosing these locations, we based it to make sure that we can walk and wade, that there's a lot of DIY accessibility, as well as some inexpensive lodging, campgrounds, and that sort of thing, but also that we can showcase local businesses and guides, just prioritizing just creating that inclusive space for all people to feel welcomed. All are welcomed in these events, so they're not women specific. Most of the Fish and Hangs as of right now are mostly women. And again, part of that is just because of United Way on the Fly. We've had this community for almost 10 years. So we're slowly building the I Fish, I Belong community, but it's, just everybody that's there are just fun, fishy, and just a really good time. Many of you have already joined the Facebook group, but if you have not joined it, there is a specific Facebook group for New York Fish and Hang, the actual event. And so this is a spot where you can connect, you can make fishing, plans with other folks. Dottie just asked a great question, such as, hey, I have a room at the Hungry Trout Resort, but it has 2 beds and I would love to share that expense. So if you have that, or if you have a VRBO with an extra room or whatever it might be, please just utilize the Facebook group, and or if you want to share a guide or whatever, just to connect with everyone that's going to be a part of this event. And as Rachel said, it was Jason who she got this from, but truly it's all about the hang. These events bring people together that you have never met before, but they truly could be your lifelong friends after this. So the one thing I'll say too is you get what you put into this event. So I encourage everybody to say hello and talk to new people and just meet people, get to know them, get to know their story. And you may have a lot of new home water that you might be able to come and fish, whether it's in New York, whether it's in Spokane, Washington, or wherever it might be. You just never know who you're going to meet. As far as land acknowledgement, so with all of the different hangs, we look at where who was on these lands before we were. And so within this Wilmington area, it's actually the Mohican Nation. And so I'll have all of these hyperlinks will all be available via PDF once this is recorded and uploaded. So you can go in and kind of look and see what the history is of the area that we are going to be on. Wilmington, this is where we're going to be, close to Lake Placid. Lots of different areas that you can travel in from. So I know several people are going to be driving, others are going to be flying. So Burlington is going to be the closest airport, about 2 hours away. Albany is about 2.5. Montreal's 2 hours, and JFK is about 5 hours. So kind of in a good central area, couple hour radius, I guess is what you could say, of a major airport.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You could, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah,
but
no.
you could also fly into Plattsburgh, New York. And if you're at an airport, I can't remember the 2 airlines that they have there. It would probably be expensive to go there from like a major hub, but they have 2 subsidiary airlines there. And if that is one that flies from your town to there, that's really close. That's like 40 minutes. It's a big airport. It's a decent airport. Also Saranac Lake, sorry. So that's like Cape Air from Boston area. You can get there pretty quick. You'd have to have a rent-a-car or something when you get there. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're not interrupting at all. That's great. And so what I'll do is I'll make sure that
Yeah, I'll
I'll
text.
update all that information on the reserved website for everybody, so you can look at that as well. So that, and I'll look up the 2 airlines that go into that and then update it. So perfect. Rachel, please interrupt away, because this is your home. So we want to hear everything and anything that you have to say about it. As far as area resources, so Joanne and Rachel helped provide a lot of just different links for the area. And again, all of these hyperlinks, they're listed on the reserved website, and I'll show you what that looks like, as well as they'll be in this PDF that we send out of this specific presentation. But you know, there's so much to do in the area other than fishing. And it's gonna be in the fall, so leaf peeping could be a really good activity to do as well while we're in this area. So feel free to just look at all these different area resources. As far as registration goes, so the registration, it's just a minimal amount, really just kind of helping offset all of the costs that that we have to pay for running a nonprofit, and like Zooms and emails and all that boring stuff that y'all don't want to hear about. But your registration also comes with some pretty amazing perks. So I'm going to show you what those are. We have a registrant website. So once you've registered for the New York Fish and Hang, you will receive an email right away that says, hey, thank you so much for registering. Here's a bunch of kind of a checklist with a bunch of information. Within this New York Reserved website, and it's under Fish and Hang /NY Reserved. It's going to share all of this information that we are talking about today. It'll be on there as well. So you have a couple of different places that you can look. So swag, within your registration, you get a hat or a t-shirt for included. And so we have 42 different products that are available. So I know that some of the different t-shirt sizes and stuff have already, you know, people that have registered earlier have selected certain things, but there's a lot of options to choose from. So please do that. I'm going to be flying all of this with me in October. So we just ask that you choose your swag by 9/28. So I have enough time to package it up and put it in my suitcase. If for some reason you do not select your swag, I will be bringing some extras, so that way you'll have extra choices. And we have a lot of hats, and there's a lot of options. I know some people aren't fans of truckers, so we have some, you know, full cloth hats, and there's foam hats. There's all kinds of stuff. So
this is a very cool hat.
yes, that one is one of my favorites. As far as other registration perks, so I know some of you came to the Fall Trout Fishing Techniques online course, the virtual education, back in on August 5th, but also the entire online course. It's an hour-and-a-half online course that's available to you all. So the link to access that is all listed in your email. So feel free. We talk about streamers, we talk about spay fishing, we talk about dry fishing, dry dropper, subsurface nymph fishing. So, and just kind of what it's like to fish during the fall for trout. So if you need that, that is available. You also have a 20% off pro account for Trout Routes, and Trout Routes is an incredible app that you can use in order to locate your different fishing areas. They just joined forces with Onyx, and so Onyx is a pretty well-known hunting app that really is for kind of one of the greatest things is it shows private and public land, so you can kind of see where you're at. Also shows other campsites and whatnot, but really good app to use. And then everything else, like all of us, you know, all our time to put into all of this. And basically, we want you to have a central location where you can find a lot of this information and just feel prepared to enjoy yourself over the weekend. Also have a New York checklist. If y'all like to check, here you go. Here's that for you as well. Why did we select October? Well, we selected it because it's going to be beautiful. The fishing can be fun, and it's just a great time of year to visit upstate New York. As far as our itinerary for the weekend, well, we have, it's going to be a fun-filled weekend. So again, this is kind of a la carte, truly. It's you all decide. This is your own weekend. So you decide, hey, you want to do this, or you don't want to do this, or you want to come to this, or you want to just go leaf peeping, or whatever it might be. So Thursday, some are going to be arriving and just people will be DIY fishing. Again, utilize that Facebook group. If you're coming early, just connect and say, put yourself out there and say, hey, I'm coming early. Does anybody want to go wet a line? Friday, so Rachel, myself, and Joanne, we're going to be teaching a Fishing New York North Country workshop. It's 4-hour workshop. That is currently sold out, but if you want to get on a wait list, I have a wait list going. Actually, don't have anybody on the wait list for the workshop, so you might be the first one. And then 6 to 8 p.m. So each evening we have hang times, right? So just hanging out times, telling fish tales, getting to know each other. That's going to be at the HT Tavern, also known as the Hungry Trout Tavern. But Rachel, do you want to share a little history behind the HT Tavern?
Well, the Hungry Trout is a motel with 22 rooms, and then we have 2 restaurants and a fly shop on the property. The restaurants downstairs is the HT Tavern, which was formerly known as R.F. McDougal's, Rat-Faced McDougal's, which is the name of a fly. And the owner for the last 40 plus years was the Botcher family. And the property was sold about 4 years ago to a gentleman named Matthew Foreman, who in his own right wants to create his own thing. So he kind of changed around the pub a little bit. It's not a fishing bar as much anymore as it used to be, filled with very cool old fishing stuff, antiques, whatever. Now it's kind of, I don't know, hipsterville or whatever. Now it's the HT Tavern, but whatever. It's a fun place to hang out. It's on the property, so it's nice. You don't have to drive if you're staying there, and it's central. I mean, Wilmington's super small, so if you're staying someplace else in Wilmington, it's like a mile and a half away. So don't stress on that. It's right on the river. It's got a beautiful view. Hopefully we'll have some nice weather. We can hang outside, and the food's pretty good. So we'll have fun there.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer because, with many of you I know are staying at the Hungry Trout Resort. So, and they have a fly shop. This is where Rachel works. And so kind of a great central location. We haven't had a fish and hang in October. So a lot of our other times have been where it's warmer outside. So definitely bring a beanie and a puffy, because if it's not raining, I'm sure many of us will be just hanging outside. So, but this allows you to go in and out. So that's just the evening, and it's 6 to 8 p.m. So basically you come when you want. If you fished all day and you want to retire early, cool. If you want to hang out late, that's great too. So this is, again, your weekend. On Saturday, so some are going to be social fishing and exploring. We also had an opportunity, it's actually filled at the moment, for guide and private water on the bush country area. We do have a wait list going. So if you want to be put on the wait list for that, please just send me an email at ifishibelong@gmail.com. But do know that there's so much other water out there. Obviously, we're going to be close to the Asable River, but there's other places to fish, and we're going to talk about that as well, just where to go. Evening hang, kind of to make it the most convenient, we're going to just do it at Hungry Trout again, just kind of keeping it in the same area, just for ease and easeability, basically. Sunday, so fish and depart, DIY fishing. So again, just utilize the Facebook group. We're going to all be around fishing. Just let's connect, and we'll all, Joanne, myself, and Rachel, we are moderating all of that, so we can help answer those questions, but just utilize the Facebook group. As far as the event location, so Hungry Trout Fly Shop and Resort, the HT Tavern, and Bush Country. So all of these have links, just Google Maps links, and then I'll show you another really great specific New York Fish and Hang map option as well. So here we have the evening hang, which we already talked about. As far as the Saturday social fish, so many of you did register for the social or the fishing in Bush Country. So we have 4 guides that we're hiring with Hungry Trout, and then myself, Rachel, and Joanne will also be available to be running and bebopping and helping and netting fish and doing all of that stuff, and really just to be the hype women as well. But for those that did register, so an email will be sent to you 1 week before the event with like the actual specifics. We can carpool to the bush country, and we'll get all these details to you. You want to make sure you have a current New York fishing license. Each angler, you're responsible for all your gear and tackle. So if you have questions about that, just let us know. We're going to cover that as well. Bring water, snacks, sunscreen, all of that. Meals. So you're on your own for food, but the HT Tavern does have food. There are some grocery stores in the area as well. So just, bringing your own food. Lodging. So this is a pretty incredible thing. So Hungry Trout has given us lodging for $139 a night. So there are 2 rooms available. I did try calling and reserving it, and the woman that I spoke with, she wasn't aware of the lodging.
Yeah, you want to talk to Matt.
So talk to Matt. So when you call, just make sure that you ask for Matt, and that is listed in your email, and we'll make sure that I'll put that again in the Facebook group so you can call and get your rooms registered. There's also Airbnbs. There's also, lots of other lodging as well for those that want to camp. So you can camp. There's several areas, and these are all very close to where we're all the hang events.
The 2 closest ones there are the Wilmington Notch is very close, and the KOA is very close. The Drapers one is not as close. That's on the other side of Lake Placid. That's like a 20-minute drive. Not bad, but the 2, number 2 and number 3 are very close. And they have you could do RV camping there, you could do tent camping there, et cetera, et cetera.
Cool. And I know KOA has some cabins too. I think I saw on the group that some people had reserved KOA cabins. So lots of different options. And again, all based on trying to be mindful of what everybody's budgets are. So for those that are taking the New York workshop, so the workshop will be held at the Hungry Trout restaurant. You're going to receive an email a week specific to those who registered for the workshop a week before. Try arriving just 15 minutes early. That way you can sign in, get some waivers, dress appropriately for the weather. So some of it's going to be classroom, but we're going to try to be outside casting, kind of moving around a bit. Glasses are required when casting. So bring sunglasses or regular glasses, and then bring water and snacks. As far as DIY fishing, so basically Rachel and Joanne had helped put together all of these different links for you all to just kind of start doing some work ahead of time. So we have less than 2 months, but we still have some time where we can start to plan, kind of look at everything. So just highly encourage you all to just, click on these DIY fishing, different blogs, and kind of starting to get an idea and plan your trip. Definitely, they do require a little bit of preparation. So this is not a guided weekend. This is a weekend, again, focused on all budgets and DIY fishing. So definitely there is some preparation and just proactive time involved ahead of time. And then river maps. So different river maps are available. This is a Au fly fishing map.
We say Au Sable.
Au Sable. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Au Sable.
Au Sable is in Michigan.
Gotcha. All right. See,
Sorry.
No, I appreciate it. I live near Ponderay River, and people say Pendorley, so I get it.
Well, it's like you say Au Sable, and I say Au Sable.
Tomato. No, Au Sable. Thank you.
Potato.
Okay. So, Rachel, I might actually just have you kind of start rolling through the fishing part of it, if that's okay. And just kind of looking at the maps and explaining some of this. And I know Hungry Trout does share, you all have this map there, right? That
we have, these are little foldable pocket-sized things that you can grab. We have a bunch of them. Also, the visitor center in Wilmington will probably be open, and they have them as well. The Ausable is a historic river. There's a lot of fishing literature written about the Ausable, generally about its pocket water. So we have a lot of pocket water. What does that mean? That means it's pretty rocky in a lot of places. There are places that are not rocky. There's a whole section. I don't know how you scroll this thing up, but whatever. You scroll it like up. Can you do that? Oh, wait, no, wait, leave it right there. I see it. So if you go like up to where this big thumb is, that whole section, the river road, is all sandy bottom stuff and flat water. So if you're not into wading rocks and stuff, you can go up there. That fishing, well, that can be really good or really bad. So we'll see what happens. That time of year, you could have some blue winged olives. I mean, it all depends on the conditions, and that's almost impossible to predict, especially nowadays. I mean, considering yesterday, it was 87 degrees, and tomorrow morning it's supposed to be like 50.
54.
So yeah, the world is completely fucked. So, all right, back to the map. So we have a ton of pocket water. Our class is going to be a lot about how to fish that. A lot of people don't have experience on pocket water, but it looks a little intimidating. I would recommend that everybody have a wading staff. That's a really good tool to have here. Our fly shop has a bunch of old ski poles. You could probably borrow one. I mean, I don't think we charge you for a ski pole. We also have full gear rentals if you need gear. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to fish. That time of year, who knows what's going to be going on. Likely you'll still have maybe some hoppers will still be around. This is a big river for attractors, and dry dropper is usually a very good way to fish here. The fish will come to the surface without seeing rising fish. That's a big thing in pocket water. So you can fish dry flies quite a bit here if you like to. And we'll do a little maybe a free like info on fishing, but here like movement on the fly is really cool. Like skittering flies and things like that are really good. The best way to sort of fish the pocket water is to kind of cover it. I mean, you can fish at any speed you want, but really you're going to find fish, and you're going to look at this river and go, oh my God, there's a fish behind every rock, because it looks like there should be a fish behind every rock, but there just isn't a fish. This is not Montana. This is not Argentina. This is a hard place to fish. So just know that right now. If you get a couple of fish in a day here, that's a good day. And don't let it get to you. It's tough. It's beautiful. There's so much good stuff to see. Some of it seems really close to the road. Some of it isn't. I mean, there's all kinds of options. If you like to get lost, you can. There's all kinds of other rivers too. Within an hour and a half drive, you can almost be in Canada. There's a river called the Salmon River in Malone, which can be very good. You have the whole Saranac system, the North Branch, the South Branch, and also the Chateauguay rivers. So we have a lot of fishing. There's also, if you're into like flatwater fishing, ponds up here, a pond is a lake. Okay, that's just what we say here. So if you're, you want to bring a canoe, that time of year, there should be some good brook trout fishing. There's all kinds of water close by. There still probably will be some bass fishing too. We have decent bass fishing in the Saranac lake area, on the Saranac River, and also on flat water. So pretty much whatever you kind of feel like finding, it's probably there for your liking. The people in the fly shop are very helpful. So please use that as a resource. Yeah, man, I don't know what else to say.
And with the DIY spots, so I know this says Oregon, but with I Fish I Belong, we've created a specific Google map for every single fish and hang. So there is a New York one on the New York Reserved website. But the great thing is, just like Rachel said, we have the Salmon, the North and the South Fork, the Saranac, that there's different places. So what we'll end up doing is we'll just put a couple of pins in this area or on this specific map. So it's a great way for you to kind of have a general idea. We'll also put some links to the different rivers on the reserved website as well. So that way, again, you're just kind of getting an idea as to how far it is, what, planning out your day, looking at different areas. If you've used trout routes, I see that there's several people that have used trout routes in the comments. This is a great way too to start looking at it. You can actually download a specific region and area to where you can use it offline. So great way to kind of find some of that, the access points as well as different trout water.
You can also go to the New York DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, New York DEC website, and they have for each, so look up West Branch. We have the West Branch of the Ausable River and the East Branch of the Ausable River. I would recommend staying on the West Branch. There are fishing access maps on their website for all the rivers in New York. So that's another, I don't know anything about this trout route stuff, but whatever. I'm sure it's great. And but also you can go on to that map thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And I'll make sure that I'll go on to it later on tonight, and I'll just update the website. There was a question here that said Google Deck locator map, is there updated? I think it's Google. So on the New York Reserved website, the Google map is for New York. So it is updated on there. I just wanted to show you what we had done in the past for New York, or for Oregon. So that's why you saw that. So I'm just answering a question on the Q&A. So cool. River safety. So just as Rachel said, bring a wading staff. So this river can be pretty slippery, wading staff. As far as boots, what kind of boots would you recommend?
Okay. I everything will work. I wear felt with studs. Okay. Just felt is okay. Rubber by itself, I don't like, that's not a good idea. Rubber with studs is okay. Not great, but okay, it'll work. So you don't have to go get new shoes and whatever. We do have shoes at the shop if you wanted to rent a pair of felt. But yeah, so felt with studs, or just felt, or rubber with studs. I would not recommend just rubber unless you're very young and have good health insurance. Yeah. Waiting staff is good idea. And just remember, I always give a little waiting, whatever speech about waiting and waiting with a staff. You want to remember, I'll just do this very quickly. When you're waiting with a staff, it's all about balance, right? So your balance comes from your core, right? So you want to use your core when you're waiting. I find when most people wade, especially with a staff, they're trying to balance with their shoulders and their upper back, right? And that's a good way to get hurt, okay? To hurt your back, pull your back out or whatever the hell. So you want to concentrate on using your core. And how do you do that? Well, you want to do a pelvic tilt, okay? So you guys, most women know what a pelvic tilt is. They've taken some sort of exercise class or whatever, When I guide people that don't know what a pelvic tilt is, and usually it's a guy, I have to explain it like this. I say, okay, imagine you have a dime between your butt cheeks, okay? And you're going to squeeze your butt cheeks in really tight, right? So what happens? Your pelvis actually goes forward and you're in a pelvic tilt. Now it sounds crazy, but if you try that when you're wading, you're gonna be a rock star wader as opposed to trying to balance with your upper body. Also, quickly, using the wading staff is a good thing, but don't put all your weight on the wading staff. When you push down on a wading staff, like I see people with two hands sometimes really pushing down, imagine that like you're pushing down on a cork in a bottle, right? All the wine is going to come up. So that actually raises your center of gravity. Again, you want to keep your center of gravity over your core. Really super important. Okay, that was a long speech, but that was it. Done.
Best advice I've ever gotten from anybody: squeeze your butt cheeks.
Right.
It works.
No, I do. I'm yelling at guys like, dude, you got a fucking dime in there. Come on, squeeze it.
As a newbie, can I add something?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So I used to figure skate and my balance has gone to shit. And the way I have been working on it, particularly for wade fishing, are these little ball, they're half moons, all right, and they're squishy. You can buy them for a set of 4 from Dick's Sporting Goods for $15. And in the mornings, when I'm making coffee or whatever, I put them on the kitchen floor and I practice my balance on them.
Nice.
Set them down even as if they were rocks there. I know it sounds weird, and I step from one to the other and I practice on one foot, then the other, keeping my balance because, as Rachel said, it works your core and it does your lower body strength so that you get all those muscles so that you can wade. So you guys might want to think about something like this.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
We sh-
Thank you, Beth.
Awesome. Great tips. Yeah, it is amazing when you're walking wading, just how much, and just moving our bodies, just how much core we need just to live. So as far as equipment, so if you need to borrow equipment, so the I Fish I Belong has a small equipment locker, but several different size waders, anywhere from like medium up to double XLs, as well as different boots. So if you need to borrow equipment and or a fly rod, a kit, like a fly rod with a reel, all you have to do is just fill out this borrowed equipment form. It's listed on the website as well as will be on here, and it's in all your emails. But click on it and we just ask that you put in the request by September 28th. Again, I'm going to be flying all of this with me. So, and it's a first come, first serve basis. So the sooner you can request it, and I'll let you know, I'll have an email that says, hey, I received your request. And as soon as give me a week, but if you're doing it, I'll put in hey, we received this. I'll be bringing this equipment for you.
Also,
So fill that out. Yeah, great.
Also,
Sorry,
with regard to the equipment, if we don't have enough equipment, people like myself and a few of my close personal friends who are going to show up there have extra equipment. So if, for the sake of argument, Heather gets a request for 2 pairs of size 8 wading boots and she doesn't have 2 pairs, I have an extra pair that I'll bring.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
have like I'm like the Imelda Marcos of wading boots.
Yeah, boots.
If you wear a size 9, so I wear a 9.5 women's. So I used to wear an 8 men's boot. Then I got neuropathy in my feet, so now I wear like a men's 9. So I have tons of size 8 or men's size. So if you're a woman's size shoe, like 9.5 or a 10, we got you covered, man.
Yep.
Yep.
And I have size all the way from like size 5 to size 12. So so just fill out the form. I'll work with Joanne and Rachel, and we will do our darndest to get you everything you need, as well as rods and reels. I have several kits that I can fly. And if you want, we'll arrange how you would bring those back. Let's say that on Sunday, I'll be around until Monday, so I wouldn't need it until Monday. Or let's say you want to use it, you're going to stay through Tuesday. You can always just ship it back to me too. So we have options for all of you, because again, we don't want to make this. We want you to all come and enjoy the weekend. As far as fishing license, so all of this is listed on the website. There was a couple of requests to have the link to the reserved website in the comments. So I just posted that so you all can see that and start to look at it. But you'll need a fishing license. So just, get a New York fishing license ahead of time. Regulations. So there is a link here for New York fishing regulations as a PDF for all of that. And really, regulations are there to protect the fisheries. So it's the angler's responsibility to know those and obey them. So please take a look at the different regulations on whatever waters you choose that you're going to be fishing.
We have a large section of catch and release area, which is awesome. I think it's like 9 miles total. The water right behind the hungry trout is we have private access on our side. It's also public on the other side. So, but that's a catch and release area. We do allow 2 hooks. You can do a dry dropper and all that. But yeah, we appreciate that if you do debarb your hooks. That's not a regulation, but we like to recommend that as well.
Absolutely. And one thing, the way I like to think about this too is, United When the Fly, I Fish, I Belong, we are partners with, or we're media partners with and advocates for Keep Fish Wet. And one of the greatest injuries or cause of harm to fish are barbs. So if you're planning on releasing your fish, please just pinch your barbs, and that can help prevent the #1 cause of harm. So there's several guide options. So I know that some of you were not able to get into the bush country for Saturday, but that doesn't mean that that's not an option for Thursday, Friday, or Sunday. So please just connect with the Hungry Trout Fly Shop if you want to do that, and or there's Fly Fish the Adirondacks, as well as the Rough Waters Fly Fishing. So there's other options out there too if you wanted to get a guided trip. Anything to add to that, Rachel?
Yeah, the bush country is fish. So the bush country is an interesting, beautiful area, some of the most beautiful pocket water you'll ever see in your life. One side of the river is all private, and there is a road system that we drive. I can drive you, 50 yards from the water. The other side of the river is actually state land, and you could walk to it, but it's going to take you a very long time, and you better know where you're going. So if you do want to fish the bush country on one of those, on the days on Sunday or Friday or whatever, you would have to do that through the Hungry Trout, and that is a guide fee plus a gate fee. It's totally a beautiful place to fish. There's some very large fish down there. There's some easier wading there, but that's pretty, I would say challenging wading there for sure. But we have some really nice guides who can carry you around pretty good on a one-on-one basis. So yeah. And the other two guides I know, Fly Fish the Adirondacks is Rich Garfield. I think he's booked right now for that weekend, but he might have a cancellation. John at Rough Waters is very good. His website is down, so you want to email him. There's one more guy, Ken Khalil, that I forgot to put on there, and I'll get you his info. And all of these guys have been in that area for a very long time. They're all very good.
Awesome. Perfect. I'll once we get that name and contact, I'll just update the reserved website for everybody so you can see that, and emails as well. So and here's just a picture of just some of the guide house. There's Rachel right in the middle. But just some of the different guides for the Hungry Trout Resort. So different fish species, really, we're going to be targeting browns, brooks, and rainbows. As Rachel mentioned, there will be some bass options potentially if everything's kind of warm, stays warm. But this is going to be, the trout is really what we're going to be targeting for the weekend. Equipment, so fly rods, 4 to 6 weights, average 9 foot, typical floating lines, leaders, 9 feet. Now it is the fall, so a lot of times fall means that the water can be lower, it can be more clear, the fish have seen a lot of flies. So thinking about, your tippet sizes and looking at just longer, maybe a little bit longer leaders, smaller diameter, smaller tippet. So 4 to 6x leaders, tippet spools, 4 to 7x. And again, all of this information is also listed in the reserved website. So if you can't remember, you can just go to that at the very bottom. All of that's going to be listed. Clothing, we talked about this. Waders and boots are highly recommended. Wading staff, I have 3 of them, so maybe I'll just bring some. I'll bring all 3 of them with me. My suitcases might be really heavy, but that's all right. Sunglasses, rain jackets, all the stuff. As
Hey, I
far
have a question.
yeah,
I have
please.
a question for Heather.
Yeah.
And because, Rochester or upstate New York can be 95 degrees in October, or
Yep.
or it can snow. So Rach, if it turns out that it's going to be hot, is wet wading an option?
That time of year, I don't know, man. Probably, with the way the world is right now. I mean,
Yeah.
usually I say no, but I'm going to give you the classic Adirondack answer, which is hard saying, not knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say not, but
Right.
I mean dude, I don't know. The weather is so messed up. You're right. It could be 95 degrees. So that's, hopefully it won't be, but,
Okay.
yeah, but I would not bring waiters if it happens to be a
Yeah.
day
I got it.
you could, yeah, so there you go.
Bring them.
Yeah.
Hey, Rachel, really quick,
Yeah.
does the Hungry Trout Fly Shop, do you all rent waders and boots?
Oh, yeah, we have
Okay,
everything,
perfect. There was just a
rod, yeah.
question. Okay, cool. Because there's a question that says 2XL men's waders and size 15 boots. I don't have that. That's
Whoa,
not in my,
15, that's
yeah.
a,
So that he only, or that our hubby only has rubber soled boots. So I would say reach out to, like, if they're available at Hungry Trout. If not, I would say bring what you have.
yeah,
But and then just make sure you use a waiting staff and just being very mindful. But reach out to Hungry Trout and see if there's an option to rent that size. We don't have that in our locker, in our,
I think we have waiters that size, but we don't have, I think the biggest pair of boots we have is a 14.
okay, yeah. So I just
15,
bring what you have. I know.
that's, those are some big fucking feet, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I would, even the rubber, I mean, I have a pair of these, crampons. Patagonia made them a couple years ago. They're like almost like corkers. Remember those corker sandals that you can put
Mhm.
over your boots? I think I even have some of those that are pretty darn big too. We can maybe make that work for whomever that is.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome. All right. So hatch chart. This is just as Rachel said, we don't know what's going to happen with this. Like, this summer has been weird, and it's been hot, it's been cold. So things might hatch early, things might hatch late, insects might hatch on time. So this is on an average year. These are the different insects that usually hatch in the fall. So we're going to be here in October. So just looking at different, as far as different insects, blue wing olives, some caddis, mahogany duns, midges, October caddis, slate drakes, and tricho. So again, this is just something to have an idea. I would say if you are going to be buying flies specific to the weekend, it might be a better idea to wait a little while till we're closer, so you really know what's hatching and what flies are going to be working best. That's why going into the local fly shop when you're in town is always a great idea. We do have just a couple of lists of different fly suggestions for you. And again, this is all listed on the website as well, but attractor patterns. So this river is a tractor pattern. So don't be afraid. I saw somebody that was like dry fly or die, and don't be afraid to throw a dry out there. Those fish have seen this. They're going to come up and hopefully slurp or crush one of your dry flies. So rather than me, I won't be reading all of the list, but lots of different fly suggestions as far as dry flies. We put this list together as well as the different sizes. So hopefully that'll help when you're putting your boxes together. And then as far as emergers, nymphs, and streamers, so kind of you can fish all different types of techniques. So I would say having, a few of each, or a few of some different fly types. So dries, nymphs, emergers, maybe even a streamer or two would not be a bad idea.
Yeah, as far as nymphing goes on this river, it's a lot of pocket water. Euro nymphing is a very successful technique here if that's something you're into. If you're not, don't worry about it, but that's a very effective way to fish in the pocket water for
Cool.
nymphing. But dry dropper will work as well as will indicators.
Awesome. And just some different river tips. So again, fall water can be low and clear. So trying to be mindful as to sneaking up on the fish, maybe a longer leader, smaller diameter, just different casts. So cast down and across or up and across. But if you're going to be doing pocket water, you're not casting very far. You're just working that pocket, working that water, and then you're moving on. So just, kind of thinking about all of the different tips. Fishing techniques, dry droppers. So you have a lot of options here. So whatever you all like to do, you have options for this, but lots of pocket water. So Euro nymphing, dry droppers, that kind of thing, or just dries. Different leader examples. So this will be specific to the region and to the area. So if you want to throw just a single dry fly anywhere from 9 foot to 12 feet, 4 to 6x tippet, and then you just have your dry fly on. Pretty quick and easy way to do it. If you're looking at a dry dropper, so thinking 3 to 5x tapered leader, you have your point fly or your bigger dry, and then you can have a smaller dry and or a dropper subsurface nymph and or an emerger. 18 to 24 inches for your dropper, but again, that's all suggested. So if you're looking at the water and you see that it's deeper, you might want to go longer dropper, or if your nymph or your subsurface fly is getting caught up all the time, you know, go shorter or go lighter, but just kind of mixing that up. I always say don't be leader lazy and don't be fly lazy. So meaning, you know, lengthen the leader. If you don't like the way that the fly's fishing, change it or add some, you know, some floatant or whatever you might need to for this specific leader. Subsurface, different ways you can use a bobber or an indicator, and or you can Euro nymph, different ways that you can set up different subsurface leaders. We just have a couple of examples that are pretty easy. So here, just a 3 to 4x leader, you have your point fly with a dropper. You can tie these droppers off the hook bend. You can tie them off of a tag end or off the eye of the hook. Really depending on where you want that fly to fish within the water column, as well as what you're comfortable with. Your point anchor, so here's one a tag end. So you can either use a tippet ring here, and or you could do just a double surgeon knot or a blood knot, and then you just keep a longer tag end, and then you're going to tie your fly onto that. So lots of ways to set that up. This could be a pretty effective way, specifically if you want your dropper fly to be kind of in the middle part of the water column. It's a great way to kind of get that fly, specifically if you have any insects that are hatching and just kind of emerging to become adults. Great way to catch those fish that are feeding in that middle part of the water column. And again, all of these leader examples are all listed. We'll be giving, I'll share this PDF, so you'll have examples of this. We also have them listed on the website. Just a basic streamer leader, so shorter leader, larger in diameter, so 5 to 7 feet, 6 to 10 pound tippet, or just use an old 3x leader. I have wound up old leaders that I use, you know, that are just slightly larger in diameter, but I can throw over a larger fly. So when I'm thinking about streamer fishing, I'm always thinking mass moves mass. So having a larger diameter leader to move over a larger fly is going to be helpful and less frustrating for you as you're fishing. Rachel, and Joanne, any other leader suggestions or like other fishing suggestions? Kind of to
every time I fish anywhere in New York State, I learn something. So I do the double surgeons with the long tag, and you went and said tippet ring, and now I'm like, huh. Now I've got to consider tippet, but I'll hit up Rachel and ask her what she thinks.
Oh, I think they're both good. I mean, the tippet ring is easy for sure. I think that depending on the water level, you can do everything here with a floating line, unless the water was very high, which it could be. Things happen fast here, by the way. There's a USGS gauge on the Sable online that you can look at, but know that is the total is the both branches together. The Hungry Trout has a website that has a fishing report. I don't know if they update the website every day, but you can always call the shop. But yeah, I never use anything unless I'm dry fly fishing on very slow water on that section upstream, or there's some flat pools. I usually use just 4X fluoro. I mean, I like to go with, because there is some pocket water that has some fast water. So you don't want to be fishing 6X because you're going to lose fish that way. You're going to break off a lot of fish. I try and use the biggest tippet I can get away with, you know, for the circumstances. So on this river, it's I generally start with like a 3X leader and then go from there, because then I can fish 3X or bigger, you know, but I can also tie it down if I come upon, you know, some small flies. I can tie on some tippet and get down to 5X, and very few times here where 6X is necessary. So we like to play the fish as fast as we can. Obviously, we like to keep the fish in the water. We use a thermometer is very important here. Hopefully at that time of year, it won't really be an issue. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of stocked fish here. There are some wild fish. One of the things I'm seeing this year, I'm seeing more holdover fish than I've ever seen, and some big ones too, which is good. Which means that we had a bad winter, you know, for snow and all that. But there's a lot of big fish around, and hopefully we're just getting through some very hot weather. It seems that the fish have survived through that, which is good. And yeah, I mean, you know, we always want to do the right thing and, you know, be good stewards of the resource for sure.
Absolutely. And just our final slides, and we'll open it up, but just conservation considerations. And again, we chose this area because there's a lot of water to fish, and it's good for a group. As mentioned with Keep Fish Wet, so you can go in and check out the principles and tips for that. We're just going to share a couple of different photo ideas and thoughts behind this. Fall, you may be using some sun gloves, or maybe it's cold enough where you're actually wearing some gloves, but a wet bare hand is best when you're touching and, you know, handling those fish. You can actually quickly unhook a fish and get it, you know, let it go without even having to touch it. So if you want to keep your gloves on, but just a wet bare hand is best. Minimizing air exposure. So the rule is 10 seconds or less, and that's accumulative. So just thinking about, you know, your fish photos and keeping it in the water, lifting it up, or, I mean, some photos look really incredible, just the fish in the water, beautiful. And, you know, kind of thinking outside the classic grip and grin photos. Hold the net under the fish. Not only does it look aesthetically beautiful, but also fish can be pretty slippery. So making sure that you're holding the fish over the water, not over, you know, grass or rocks or in a boat, all of that. So just being mindful. Leaning down. So if you have a photographer that's and if I will be your hype woman if if I'm around and I'm netting your fish on Saturday, but leaning down, if you're able body and you're able to do that, just looks aesthetically better as far as fishing goes, or as far as that photo goes. Photograph the tails, the eyeballs, the scales, like all the things, all the colors of the leaves. Oh my gosh, there's going to be so much that we can look at that's thinking again outside of the box. And I know some people might say no to bananas, but Heidi actually has a banana tattooed onto her arm. So she brings bananas with her everywhere she goes fishing. She fears no fruit, but thinking about just different ideas for photos, you know, looking at lines, looking at bent rods, all of the things. There's so much else you can do. And I know Rachel has just been, for July, was just sharing all of these other beautiful photos of everything else that entails your adventures and your experience with fishing, casting photos and all of that. And then just a quick disclaimer, like, we want you to have an unforgettable and great evening and weekend, and just to enjoy yourself. So, you know, we'll continue to keep sharing this education. Reach out if you see Joanne, myself, Rachel for the weekend, come chat with us. And, you know, we can help share any of the knowledge that we have, but also connect with all these women. You're going to, all people, that everyone that's going to be there, because everyone's a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge. Drama is not tolerated on any of these weekends. So if for some reason something were to happen, please reach out to myself, Joanne, or Rachel, and we will we'll take care of it. We haven't had to do anything the last, you know, several years. So let's continue that. Again, this weekend is DIY. It's not guided by the co-hosts. So just connecting with other women in the Facebook group. It was funny because someone mentioned that the only posts that they see are from Heather. Well, I'm the only one that's posted thus far. So this is just an invitation to you all to be able to post and share and connect with everybody. So that's probably why you're just seeing my posts. And again, it's not an exclusive weekend, so we want all people to feel welcomed, all people to come to this event. You will see that there's going to be a lot of women there, partly because, United When the Fly has been around for a long time, and that's where we've met a lot of people and how we've just connected. So just be welcoming and say hello and meet new folks. I'm going to stop my share. Yeah, Joanne.
No, I'm typing. I'm responding to
Okay.
somebody's question.
And yeah, let's open it up we'll open it up to questions, but Joanne or Rachel, other things to add to it or to this or to all of this information? It's a lot.
There's
Go ahead,
a
Rach.
really good place to, like, if you want to fish and bring some lunch with you. There's a place called the Little Supermarket. I live right across the street from it. It's a deli in Wilmington. Great spot to pick up, beer or whatever. They have lunch specials every day and yes, nice shirt. And they yeah, that's a good spot for just picking up, stuff.
Cool. And I believe I put it on the Google. There's a pin drop to it. So if not, I'll make sure that it's added onto the Google Maps. That way you all can see that. How's service, Rachel? Is it steady in certain spots or?
If you have Verizon, it's good.
Okay.
Otherwise it's not so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Joanne, what else do you want to add?
No, I just, Lisa Green and I have been PMing during this. This is a great group of people. I don't know everyone. I'm really looking forward to, broadening my horizons. Can't believe we got Molly coming up from Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's
Angie from Ohio.
Angie, are you
Oh,
coming?
nice.
Yeah. Or I don't know if I hope so, but we don't know. Yeah.
Right.
I'm 92% sure.
See, Angie's a school teacher, so she's required. But boy, she's it's just an absolute blast. It's just a blast. Like I said, I anticipate fishing, and I always laugh when people complain it's raining. I'm like, what are you doing there? Oh, I'm standing in the river. Okay. But if the weather is inclement such that it, dampens our fishing a little bit, we will still have a blast.
Yes, absolutely. And rain's good. Rain brings mayflies.
Damn straight.
Bring it on. I like clouds. I like rain because it brings on the bugs. So I'm great with that.
No, this river too is really better in low light conditions. So I always tell people when they're just new to fly fishing, I was like, welcome to fly fishing, the sport where we pray for rain and insects. Yeah. So yeah, we like rain here. So have a good raincoat, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so what questions? I saw there was a question, how many of us are coming? So right now there's 40 registered. Yeah, so awesome. It's gonna be an awesome group of folks. It's gonna be so fun. So
I don't know if you were watching, but at one point we had 39 participants on this call.
I know, yeah, it's gonna be so good. What other questions can we answer while you have the three of us here together?
Wake up, Kiki.
Kiki's been to the Fish and Hake. She's even co-hosted.
Well, and Kiki knows the area well. Kiki has up here quite a bit, so she knows her way around. She's muted. You're muted.
Kiki, you're muted.
Am I unmuted now?
Yeah, no, yeah.
There you go. Yes, I have fished quite a bit up there, and thanks to Rachel, she's a wonderful host, and I'm looking forward to coming up again. I love the 80Ks, and you all, if you've never been there, it's just awesome place. So it'll be lovely.
Gonna be lovely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Sarah, do I see that you're unmuted? So the floor is yours.
So just for Rachel, can you maybe put together a list of smaller streams people can hit in the area instead of like trying to hunt for stuff on trout routes? Give them names of smaller streams that they can try to brook trout hunt on.
I don't know, man. That's
yeah. You send me a list?
Yeah, I can. Yes.
Yeah,
a lot of them are.
You will be sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, we can do that.
And Sarah, too, what we'll do is all the, and for everyone, all the other rivers that we talked about, I'll make sure that they're listed on the reserved website as well. So, so that way there's a lot more options too. And there was a question, Tammy had a question, top 5 flies to prepare. What would you say, Rachel? If you had to pick 5 flies for October to fish the area, what would you say?
All right, I'd say girdle bug or whatever, Pat's rubber legs,
Yep.
whatever the hell you want to call it. For nymphs, I'd say you can never go wrong with a pheasant tail nymph, right? I mean, you can never go wrong with a pheasant tail nymph. I'd have a couple big nymphs, couple small nymphs for dries. I'd have like an Ausable bomber. I'd have a hopper. There's still hoppers around that time of year. Something or a chubby Chernobyl even. There'll still be a few stoneflies around. I mean, attractors are a big deal here. So, yeah, like a fat Albert or a chubby. I don't know if we'll still have ISOs then. That's hard to say. There'll be some caddis, probably some small caddis. I don't know. I think I said more than 5. But yeah, I would have definitely some floaty attractors so you can hang a nymph below it. Definitely, I can fish a girdle bug all year round and catch fish. Something, even little zebra midges might be good that time of year. And then like some kind of pheasant tail or hare's ear, basic stuff. Yeah.
Perfect.
October caddis, pretty tough to say what's going to be. I can't predict anything anymore. Really. It's it's just so, everything's crazy, man. The weather is crazy. Seeing bugs that I shouldn't even, like Hendricksons, like what the fuck, those are in April, I mean, I don't know what's going on in the world, but it's crazy. So it's hard to predict.
Yeah. And we can post in the Facebook group too, as we get closer, and I'll do a final email to everybody. So that could be with the fishing report link as well. So just sharing that information kind of as we get closer, we'll just see what is happening truly. Cool.
Blue-winged olives. You'll probably see blue-winged olives there at that time of year. Pretty small too.
What other questions? I know we're a little over time, so I just want to be respectful of our co-host time as well as everybody else's.
I want to ask Beth to put in the website the name of those balls. The half
balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
great.
Yeah, it is great. I've been falling over lately and it bothers me.
I'll make sure I get
That's
that
not good.
information to you guys
Hey.
one way or another. Maybe I can
Awesome.
mail it to Heather or get
Yep.
it on the website. Sure.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Yeah, just send me an email and I'll make sure it's updated. So thank you. Yeah.
I saw a question about temps at night just now from somebody. It could get, I mean, it's October. It's not unusual. I mean, it has snowed at that time of year. I doubt it, but I'd say probably the coldest, 40s would be a cold night, but it could happen, So
Yeah.
if you're camping, I'd have, a good bag, 30-degree bag, probably 20-degree bag. I mean, that's a little overkill, but yeah.
And I just saw another thing too, for those for those that are coming in on Thursday, is there a place that we could all meet up? I would say just post in the Facebook group.
Yep.
And that's a great way to just connect and kind of create those connections. So
Patty, the Thursday night get together is usually something that comes together much closer to the actual event.
Yeah, and we can do pretty sure there's like some kind of fire.
And it might be where, yeah, or it might be where we just say, hey, let's all go
out. We can do that. I think there's one. I'm not sure. I don't know. I worked there for 30 years. I have no idea if there is one, but yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, Thursday is kind of just the impromptu, just kind of hang time. So yeah, just utilize the Facebook group, make those connections. And some people might just be going to, to a brewery or something. You're like, hey, we're going here if anybody wants to come, anybody in town. So kind of just utilizing that Facebook group. So and Angie or Molly, since y'all have been to all of the fish and hangs,
wow.
is there anything that you would recommend or say or give any advice to, or anything that we missed?
I would say be open to, kind of meeting a new person, like try to make it your challenge if you're a little bit more introverted. Because I met someone at the Mop and Fish and Hang, which was the second one this year, at the end of May, early June, and we're already talking about caravanning to Alaska next year. So like,
Oh, that's awesome.
so like for real, like you will really, really, really get out so much more than you put in, but just be open to it. Just give it a try.
Absolutely.
And don't be embarrassed to ask a question that you think is ridiculous or silly or whatever, because we've all been there and somebody else might be thinking it as well. And like, so everybody says that, but it's so true.
So Bakes, you're coming now, huh?
You
You're
want
gonna
to get to be friends with Molly, so if you get hung up in Atlanta at the airport, you got somewhere to stay.
True statement.
True that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel, I'm coming up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks.
So last before we
Awesome.
leave, Caitlin Smith, who's going to register in the next, she's a real estate agent here in Rochester. She's on the Trout Unlimited board. You met her, Rachel. She has a 92-year-old grandmother who still skis.
Wow.
And Caitlin was telling her about this, and her 92-year-old grandmother says, I think that's something I'd like to do. I could at least hang out.
Heck
So
yeah.
we may have the oldest.
Yes.
attendee ever.
Grandma.
Well,
That's
Linda's
awesome.
coming, right?
Yeah, Linda's coming. Yeah.
All right. So she she can hang with Linda.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
not sleeping in my camper. That's all I know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One final thing too is Judd asked a great question about free campsites in the area, and it looks like there are some free campsites in Lake Placid area. So I'll make sure that that's posted on the website as well. So
There,
on
okay, I'll tell you
Sure.
quickly, right on the other side of the river from the Hungry Trout, okay, it's called the Flume Trails, okay, you have to walk to it, but there are a couple of campsites that are very close to the river there that nobody talks about. Now you have to, they're not really, you can't reserve it or anything like that. It's sort of a free for all, but there are a couple of campsites there. You'd have to walk, I don't know, maybe quarter mile. So, it's not like you're going to haul everything in there, but there are a few sites there. If somebody's interested in that, you can message me and I'll send you like a map of that.
Cool.
But that I wouldn't, just put that all over the place.
Yeah.
But there's at least 2 or 3.
Awesome. Cool. What other, one more question? Does anybody have one last question so we can be respectful of times?
Off at school for cheer practice, but she's got the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th off of school, and it's the first time ever in her life that she's been off with enough time to do salmon fishing. And now, are there landlocked salmon in that immediate area, or you have to go into Lake Champlain or down to the Scroon, or because it's going to be peak that?
Well, you have to fish a tributary to Lake Champlain for that, unless you're fishing a lake. There are a few lakes that have some landlocks in them, Lake George being one of them. And there's a couple other smaller lakes around here. So now you're talking the Boquete River, which is a tributary to Lake Champlain, the Saranac River, and the Ausable River. And that should be a time when there are some salmon around. So pretty hard to guarantee any of that kind of fishing. That's a whole nother ballgame. We don't guide that, but that should be going on. And that's, yeah.
And then the Great Lakes tributaries with the Kings and the Cohos.
Oh, well, that's 3.5 hours to the west of here. You don't want to be, that's not a day trip from here. And that's at least 3.5 hours to the west. That's closer to Joanne out in Rochester than it is to me.
Battle fishing.
There's also some fishing on the Vermont side, and I believe Jamie Eisenberg, I don't know if she's still here on this with us, but she knows a lot about that. She guides over in Vermont, and she could maybe help you out with some of those. I don't do any fishing over there, but that's not that far.
And we just got back from the Adirondacks last week. So if anybody's flying into Albany, let me know. We'll drop some pins if you want to fish between there and Wilmington.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great too. Yep.
Sweet. What I
It was
would
pretty warm out when I don't know, I mean, what you were doing, but it was pretty warm last week, but
We targeted smallmouth mostly,
nice.
but yeah, I think our slowest day was 20.
I love
But-
small.
The little tributary creeks that run into the larger creeks are full of trout if they're cold. Like Tennant
Awesome.
Creek is really full of trout right now from East Stony,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about 20 degrees cooler than East Stony Creek is.
Mm-hmm.
But we only hit trout maybe twice while we were there, but the rest of the time we were in mostly the Hudson and the Sacandaga.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say, Jed, just post in the Facebook group and just offer that and see if anybody is, kind of looking for that as well. So cool. It'll be awesome to see you in Deegan. I'm excited. That's great.
It's still up in the air. but
Okay,
it's-
well, we'll hope to see you both.
and she may actually choose Pulaski over Wilmington. So
Cool.
Well, that Pulaski that time of year is full on battle.
That's such a
yeah.
battle
yeah.
fishing.
Yeah, man, that's ugly, man. You don't want I don't know. I wouldn't go there on a weekend that time of year unless
Yeah.
you're, I mean, there's always a place to fish there, but I mean, if you could float it, but I mean, that's pretty brutal.
Elbow
Yeah.
to elbow to elbow.
yeah, she is still young enough to fish the DNR for free though. So
That would work.
All right.
Cool. All right. So just in summary, first, thank you all so much for being here, and Joanne, Rachel, and I, and just everybody. We can't wait to meet you and hang out and just be a part of this weekend. This will be recorded. I'll edit it. I'll upload it to a YouTube channel, and then I will make sure that all the links are sent along with the PDF for this presentation. I have lots of notes from tonight, so I'll make sure that I update the reserved website. So that information will be there. And as things change or as there's new links, we'll be updating it as well. You'll be receiving another email that's a month out, kind of just with some, basic kind of checklist things. And then a final email the week before. If you signed up for the Bush Country and/or for the workshop, you'll get individual emails 1 week before the event for each specific thing that you registered for. And please just utilize the Facebook group and make connections. And if you have any other questions or if you need anything, additionally, just send me an email at the ifishibelong@gmail.com. And I'll be checking that and replying and doing that. And don't forget to choose your swag. That's a big one too. So choose your swag. And again, if you don't choose it, I'll be bringing extras. And then I'll have times where basically it's like registration. You come up, we find you, we give you your bag, and you get, stickers and whatever you choose. And you actually get this pretty awesome. I use my bags a lot, like a reusable grocery bag, waiter bag, they're great bags. So everybody will get one of those as well. And all the registration times will be on there when you can pick up all your swag. So yeah, I guess that's Rachel and Joanne. Thank you both so much for putting in all the time, all the effort ahead of time. It's so greatly appreciated. And we look forward to seeing you all, and please reach out with any questions. So have a great evening, and we'll
Bye, girls.
see you later. Thank you.
Bye. Good to see
Good
everybody.
night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ciao,
I'm calling
Bellas.
you.